Hello, folks. This is Joe from MIGeekScene. I'm here at the Cherry Capital Comic Con here with Brian O'Halloran, actor, theater actor. Did a little bit of voice work in anime and whatnot.
Right.
For those who don't know, and I'm surprised if you did, he plays Dante and the rest of the Hicks family in the View Askewniverse. He's been in movies like Brutal Massacre, a comedy, and Vulgar.
Yeah.
Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for asking, Joe.
No problem. We'll just get off started with this because there was a new announcement before this con that you are a part of a new comic book with Tony Maiello called Odd Tales from the Curio Shop, which features you.
That's right. Tony, I've known Tony now for quite a few years. When him and his partner ran Detroit Fan Fair many, many years ago, I was a guest there numerous times. And we've developed a relationship. He was born and raised in the New York City area like myself, and so we also have the same mutual love in certain sports teams and stuff. And being that he's a comic book artist and writer himself, it's awesome that he's decided to develop a comic book based on a character kind of based on me in a out weirdless kind of way. When the odd tales from the Curio Shop, I kind of play like this kind of curator of a shop that has odd stuff in it. So the story's kind of like Creepshow in a way. It will be the fundraiser. I think the Kickstarter starts in September with hopefully a book release by the beginning of next year.
Okay, and from what I understand, like the story's told from the perspective of the reader, purposely.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
So. Obviously, everyone knows you for Clerks, but you've also done a cool show on Amazon called The Fireball Run. Any cool experiences from that?
Oh my God, the Fireball Run, which has been around now going on 11 years, but they're up to airing season 10 right now on Amazon Prime. It's a road rally adventure series, and what it is it's 40 teams traveling 2,000 miles over 8 days. Where we're giving missions and tasks, and some of them are bonus missions, which some of them could be wild goose chases, thus wasting your gas and time going in different directions, because there is a finish point of every day and a start point of every day. And you must get to them, otherwise all your mission points for solving or completing missions don't count. And we visit historical sites or really cool businesses, or we have really cool people that we run into, or whatever it is. But at the same time, every team is sponsoring a missing child from the area that they're based out of.
Okay.
So we hand out, every team is given 1,000 posters to hand over these 8 days over usually 8 different cities, and usually about, to be honest with you, like 15 cities, because they're midway points where we have lunch and we stop at cities. Hand out flyers. We hand out these kind of trading cards that every player is given, these player cards that has the information of the missing child on the back as well. And so it's a kind of unique kind of game show, kind of, competition show, because not only is it a reality competition show, but it's one that has a purpose and a heart, and the mission is really to find these children.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to delve into a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
So, from what I understand, you're a gamer.
I am.
Favorite board and video games?
Ooh. That's tough, because there's so many genre of board games. I mean, you could have the tabletop kind of war games, and then you have your traditional kind of Milton Bradley kind of board games. I mean, we did a lot of Starfleet battles back in the day. I mean, I'm talking about a gamer back from the 80s kind of thing. And as far as video gaming goes, I've been enjoying the Call of Duties. I haven't gotten into Overwatch or Fortnite yet, only because I'm on the road a lot or I'm involved in other projects. So to devote as much time as they do, I know Jason Mewes is a huge Overwatch and Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
And he usually tweets out or puts on Instagram when he's going to be on Twitch or whatever and gaming. So I know he's really into it. So I love the fact that me and him talk all the time. For the most part, when it comes to me building rigs, I'm a Windows guy. I'm not an Apple guy. So I like to build my own gaming rigs because I like to PC game more than console game.
For sure.
Yeah.
Liquid versus air cooling?
Right now I just do air cooling only because liquid cooling systems I feel need such monitoring, because God forbid you have a leak. And then, and I don't want to have something sitting in my house that I'm not there for if something should leak. So as of right now, I usually buy a good full tower, but I put a small mid-tower setup inside, but the full tower gives me the extra room for air circulation.
Okay.
So if you have the space to have a good full tower and add enough fans to do it, and keep it in a nice, air-conditioned area, like my gaming area is down in the lower level, like basement area, which is always naturally cool already. So I don't need to have a lot of heavy fans, but I do put Every vent that I can put a fan in, I'm putting a fan in.
So what games are you playing on that then?
I'll play things like the Wolfensteins. I'll play the Call of Duties. I'll play Battlefield, things like that. So those are the games that when I get time to, because those are games I can just jump right in. As far as RPG kind of gaming for fantasy, I'm a big fan of the Guild Wars scenario, only because I'm not a big subscription to play kind of guy.
Me neither.
I don't think people. I think if you're paying $50 to $100 for a game, I think that's enough money for the developer to then give me content that is downloadable and playable. Now, do expansion packs do I want to pay for? Absolutely. But a monthly, you need to pay me rent so you can get onto the game. I understand that that's a business model that works for a lot of people, and a lot of people enjoy it, and they get a lot more out of it. Plus, there's also another play money kind of digital money that transverses in those universes. But at the same time, I'm just here. Take my money and give me my game.
So you mentioned RPGs. Were you into the Final Fantasy series?
I was up till 9, I think it was.
All right.
Because I had the time when I was younger. I don't really have the time to continue with it. It's funny now because now those games are transforming to different platforms. Now they're on tablet size, or now they have the ones where you get on your phone as an app almost. And it's just incredible that when me and my friends used to LAN and game, it was the constant pursuit for bigger and better screens to play the game. And now for a younger generation to be playing stuff on such a 3-inch to maybe at most 5-inch screen that would drive me nuts, to be honest with you.
I'm actually looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII remake that's coming out for the PS4, and I'm pretty sure it'll come out for the PC.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of PC, only because back in the day, the PC platform had better graphics.
So I want your thoughts on this with the whole crypto mining thing.
Sure.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't have a full grasp of it personally. It almost sounds like back in the day when they would say Chinese bots would be farming gold for those various games that you then go to their website to then buy, and someone would meet you in game to give you your gold. So it kind of it almost gives to me that idea is that what it is? Is it someone who goes out and digitally finds this kind of money and then you meet them somewhere for it? So it's weird. Look, every bit of money is the belief in that there is a value to this piece of paper, that I give you this piece of paper, you will give me goods and services based on that piece of paper, and a promise that there's a value that we all agree upon that this piece of paper, and it's just another way of doing it. The only thing I always find is that anything digital based of any type of economy can easily be hacked and manipulated anytime they want. Even the stock market. There was at a time where they had a big computer glitch and the stock market went a little crazy because of an algorithm in one trading, one company's trading computer, and started trading some stock that went crazy just because of a digital algorithm. So as much as people deal with cryptocurrencies, and when I see that Bitcoin is worth at some points 14,000 a Bitcoin, and now it's down to whatever. And I remember when 50 Cent did his deal where he got the whole deal in Bitcoin, and it made him millions in the end. It's just weird.
No, for me, the issue I have with Bitcoin is that the crypto miners are buying up all these high-end graphics cards to use that towards that. So the prices are severely inflated, at least by $200 to $300.
Correct.
And I would like to have a high-end PC rig, but I'm not about to drop $1,000 on a card.
Right. It's artificially weird, and we'll see what happens. But such is life. If that's what it does, and people want to get involved in crypto mining, go right ahead.
Game.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's all I want to do is game.
Imagine it's almost as if imagine to make some sort of money, so many people got on the highway, almost like Uber. Let's say you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars driving Uber. Everybody's going to be on the road, and all you want to do is get to work. Get out of my way. I just want to get to work.
So how surreal is it for you to be in the upcoming Chronic Blunt Punch game?
Oh, that's awesome. That's been in the works now for about a good 4 years. And funny enough, one of the guys who's the main developer of this game is Elias, the Trevor, who played Elias in Clerks II. He got his degree, and then his friends got involved in a gaming development company, and this is the game they're coming out with first.
All right. You're a stand-up comic, too?
I do, from time to time.
What are your sets generally about? Is it observational?
It is,
stories?
And it usually depends. If I'm usually doing it at one of the cons, it's very nerd-tastic and nerd-based. So I'll goof on, let's say, movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, things like that. I once, 2 New Year's Eves ago, was the host of the comedy roast of Stan Lee, which was awesome. So I got to roast Stan Lee along with Michael Rooker, Sean Gunn, Ming-Na
Nice.
Wen, Maurice LaMarche, and John Paulson, and Marilyn Gigliotti and Ming Chen, and that was a blast. So usually that. Otherwise, it is observational, but it's mostly, I grew up in an Irish Catholic kind of family with a mother and my brothers and my father, from Ireland. So there's a lot of Irish Catholic humor at times. It all depends on what I'm hitting at the time. There are jokes that I do political, but not too much. I don't want to polarize an entire audience. Everybody's there for a good laugh, not to get speeches on kind of political meanings.
So why is George Carlin one of your favorite comedians of all time? I have a lot of respect for him.
George Carlin, God rest his soul, one of the founders of taking it and to the man and talking truth to power. He, if you look at his earlier work, especially in the 60s and 70s, was all about the government and just the weirdness and just the absolutely Hippocratic way the hypocritic way that government treats people, and people should have freedom and stuff like that. He was a free will libertarian through and through, and I enjoyed that fact of him and his working man's thought and process, yet a very high thinking level of thought behind his jokes was always great.
I read his book recently, Brain Droppings.
Sorry, yeah, that's a book that I actually he had come out with while we were shooting Dogma. And so I brought it to the set of Dogma, and it was me and him. Some of the first scenes that we shot in Pittsburgh were the Catholicism Wow campaign when he played Cardinal Glick. We were both in the makeup trailer getting ready. Now, he was born and raised in the Bronx in New York City, and I was too until the age of 10. So I started to, he's like, how you doing? And he, where you from and stuff. And we talked. And when I told him, we grew up in the same neighborhood in the Bronx, went to the same high schools and stuff. And we talked about that. And I had Brain Droppings with me because it was his latest book. And I had him sign it, and he wrote From One Bronx Boy to Another. And it was really touching. And I have a photo of me and him together, me as Grant Hicks, the newscaster from Dogma, and him as Cardinal Glick, on a small, skinny Polaroid, because at the time, digital media cameras weren't out yet, but the skinny Polaroids were the new thing for Polaroid, and we took photos together. So I have that as the bookmark. And Brain Droppings, as you mentioned, is such a great observation of so many different things. And that's what it was. It was random thoughts that were hilarious from his mind, which was a steel trap of genius.
I recall seeing some of that stuff in his stand-up as well.
Yep.
One of the comedians that I was a big fan of, and I found out about him after he had passed away, was Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks. A lot of people
Rant
don't
in
know.
E minor.
Yep. Bill Hicks, another founder of freedom of speech, and fighting the obscenity laws and what was considered obscenity, and really took it to people, and really got the word out there of questioning power. Man, you got to do that. That's what the world's about. It's about questioning power.
So as a comedian, do you feel that there are no limits in comedy?
It depends on what you would consider limits. Is there a line to cross sometimes? Probably. And if you're offended by certain jokes, some people say you should get thinner. People shouldn't be so thin-skinned. They should get thicker skin. And then there are some people who just don't believe that certain subject matters are, able to be made fun of. I think everything can be made fun of. It's a matter of if you should be in the room to hear it. Is there offensive material? Absolutely. People have made careers out of being offensive all the time.
Anthony Jeselnik, Doug Stanhope.
Once again, you're there. It's a line that we're crossing. And to be honest with you, if you're more offended by a comedian's jokes, meanwhile, an administration or a government that's imposing certain things on our freedoms or taking away freedoms or infiltrating our democracy, that's something that you should be highly offended about. You should be highly offended about what actually can affect our lives, our freedoms, our rights, rather than the rights of a comedian to tell an offensive joke.
All right. And as we're wrapping this up, you have podcasts in the making, the Ohio Rants.
Yep.
So what will be the format of it? Will it be interviews, topical, what's on your mind at the moment?
Yeah, there'll be interview segments. There'll also be, since it's called the Ohala Rant, there'll be issues that I'd want to talk about and rant about. I will have a rotating list of co-hosts as well from time to time. I have a good wide circle of friends from different kind of backgrounds that I'd love to have co-hosts on different subject matters. And we'll tackle everything from nerd kind of geek culture to gaming to political news to sports to music. It's what's really much on my mind. Thus, it's called the Ohala Rant. It's nothing genre specific. It's just, if you know me and you know how if you ever see me do my Q&As or if you see me do my stand-up, it's kind of like the same kind of feel.
Okay. And is there a rough time frame from when that podcast?
I'm hoping to have it out by this summer.
Okay.
The latest. I'm going to launch it. There was a comedy roast of me not that long ago, earlier this year, that I'm in the process of editing. Kevin Smith shows up. All the guys from Comic Book Men show up. We have a few other surprise guests that come in as well.
I saw a little bit of that. Like one of your friends posted his
segment of it, yeah. And so Ming Chen from Comic Book Men, Brian Johnson, Mike Sabsig, and it really good. Scott Schiaffo from Clerks is in it, and it was a really fun and vulgar night. So I'm in the process of editing down to make it a nice, concise amount. That'll be the first thing I launch on the podcast and the YouTube channel, and then from there we'll start releasing episodes.
So final 3 questions.
Sure.
Is there anything new that you would like to promote?
We have a couple of films that will be coming out. Jason Mewes has his new film called Madness and the Method that I make a cameo. That's in final post-production. That'll be out hopefully by this summer. So look for Madness and the Method. If you see Jay, he'll talk about it as well. Another film called Wit's End by filmmaker David Lee Madison, director-writer of a film called Mr. Hush. This is kind of a suspense thriller kind of adventure movie. That'll be out hopefully by the beginning of the fall. Another one called Right Before Your Eyes, which is about a young man who's struggling with his alcoholism, loses his wife and kids because they leave him, and I would play the best friend to try to help him sober up and get back. That's more like a Hallmark movie, kind of a Lifetime kind of movie. Hopefully that'll be out with distribution by the end of the summer. We will be shooting hopefully another Jay and Silent Bob movie by this summer, hopefully release date by 2019. And then after that, we have a few more things that I'm in talk with, and then work on the podcast, and you'll see me at other cons and dates. This couple weeks in June, I'll be in Altoona, Pennsylvania for Sci-Fi in the Valley Con. That'll be the next convention I'm at.
Most excellent. If people wanted to find out more about you online, where could they go?
The best way to do it is to find on Twitter and Instagram, which would be Brian C., as in Christopher Brian C. O'Halloran at both of those addresses, or the Brian C. O'Halloran on Facebook, which is, it says it's my official fan page, which I moderate, so it's not like you're going through staff or someone else who moderates it. It's me. That's the best way to find out what's going on, and Twitter is usually the first way I get things out.
And final question, what would you like to say to your fans throughout the years?
Fans throughout the years, thank you so much. I mean, I enjoy meeting you as much as you think you enjoy meeting me, and it's great to see that when the first movies, especially the fans of the first Clerks, are now in their 40s like ourselves and have their own kids who are now old enough to watch these movies. It's good to see fathers passing and moms passing their love of this movie down to their kids, and those guys enjoying it as well. And we have more to come, so don't give up on us and don't ignore us, and keep watching, and that's the best way to do it.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for this interview.
Not at all. Thank you, Joe.
Folks, this is Joe from MIGeekScene with Brian O'Halloran at Cherry Capital Comic Con. Take it easy.